Imagine visiting a lake, only to discover that beneath your feet lies an entire forgotten town. Beneath the water were homes, streets, a school, and a church, the remains of a community that once called this place home. For nearly 80 years, St. Thomas remained hidden beneath Lake Mead, slowly fading from memory. But when the lake began to disappear, the town returned, like it had been waiting for America to remember it. Long before it became a ghost beneath the lake, St. Thomas was a thriving desert town, built by ordinary families chasing a better life. Neighbors knew each other by name, children played in the dusty streets, and life moved to the steady rhythm of a small desert town. To the rest of America, St. Thomas was just a small desert town on the map. But for the people who lived here, it was their entire world. But change was coming to the American West, and St. Thomas was standing directly in its path. In the 1930s, the United States began one of its greatest engineering projects, the Hoover Dam. It was built to control the Colorado River, bring water to the desert, and power a growing nation. For the families of St. Thomas, progress came with an impossible choice. To save the future of the American West, they would have to abandon the place they called home. Families packed what they could carry, leaving behind the homes they had built with their own hands. For the people of St. Thomas, this wasn't just a move. It was the end of a way of life. Then came the goodbye no one was prepared for. Even the town's cemetery had to be moved before the water arrived. As the last residents looked back at St. Thomas, they believed they were saying goodbye forever. In 1938, the rising waters of Lake Mead finally reached St. Thomas. Day by day, the water climbed higher, swallowing the town piece by piece. One by one, the places that shaped St. Thomas disappeared beneath the rising waters. By the end of 1938, St. Thomas had vanished from the world above, swallowed by the waters of Lake Mead. For nearly 80 years, St. Thomas existed only as a memory, resting in silence beneath the waters of Lake Mead. But as the desert grew hotter and the lake pulled away from its shores, the silence finally began to break. Then, something impossible began to emerge from the desert floor. The first remains of St. Thomas, the town America believed was gone forever, had returned from the dead, standing once again beneath the Nevada sky. St. Thomas wasn't just a ghost story. It was the price ordinary people paid for extraordinary progress. The Hoover Dam transformed the American West, but some communities were asked to give up everything. Today, visitors walk these ruins, not to witness a ghost story, but to remember the people who once called this place home. Because beneath the dust and silence, St. Thomas was never just a lost town. It was a home. And maybe that's why St. Thomas still matters today. Because it reminds us that every place we pass through was once someone's entire world. We build new futures, but sometimes the past refuses to disappear. St. Thomas may have vanished from the map, but its story continued to live on in the memories it left behind.